Good evening and welcome to this regular meeting for Tuesday, October 18th, 2022. If everybody could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Grigsby? Here. Mrs. McCarthy?
Here.
Mrs. Saxon?
Here.
Mrs. Tamira? Mr. Baca?
Here. Finalization of the agenda. Is there anything to add and or delete?
The agenda is final as presented.
Thank you. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the written summary of the regular minutes for the meetings on September 6th, 2022 and September 20th, 2022.
Moved. Second.
Moved by Ms. McCarthy, second by Ms. Saxon. Roll call, please.
Mrs. McCarthy?
Yes.
Mrs. Saxon?
Yes.
Mr. Grigsby?
Yes.
Mrs. Tamira? Mr. Baca?
Yes. Okay, we'll move into the superintendent's report.
Okay, thank you, President Baca. So this is the first time that we have had all of our students of the month and staff members of the month back in person since pre-COVID, and we are incredibly excited and feel the energy not only in the city but also in this room, and so happy you would all join us tonight. I would like to begin our October Student of the Month presentation with Mrs. Vance, Andrea, from our Early Childhood Learning Community. Mrs. Vance.
Good evening. I am just as excited. It is so great to see everybody in person. I have the pleasure tonight of recognizing two of our Students of the Month. I'd like to first start with our preschool. And Serenity Miller is in Mrs. Diabato's classroom. And I did not see Serenity here, so I'm hoping she's joining us online. But Mrs. Diabato expressed that Serenity has shown so much growth since the last year. She's always willing to help peers and teachers throughout the school day. And she is always reminding her peers of the rules and modeling what you should be doing. Serenity is always trying her best and always willing to help when something that becomes difficult. We're so proud of Serenity. We can't wait to see you grow in your schooling and amaze us in this school year. Keep up the awesome and amazing work. Our next Student of the Month is here, Jace McNamara. So Jace, can you come up? You know exactly where to see. Jace is in Mrs. Barbarick's kindergarten classroom, and Jace is a perfect example of what a Ranger Strong student is. He is always the first person to lend a hand to his peers, and as well as his teacher. He strives for perfection in all his work, and he never shies away from trying something challenging. Jace is also in tune with others' feelings at such a young age. He knows when someone needs encouragement, when someone needs a cheerleader, and even when someone just needs a moment. He is a wonderful addition to the classroom and an absolute joy he is an absolute joy to be in Mrs. Barbarick's classroom and an awesome young man. Congratulations to Jason. You're good.
Hi, good evening. Thank you all for joining us tonight. The first student I would like to recognize is one of our first graders, Drew Kowalczyk. I didn't see him here tonight, so I'm hoping he's joining us on Zoom. Drew is in first grade in Mr. Dell's classroom. He is a great example of what it means to be Ranger Strong. He works to the best of his ability every day and is kind and considerate to others. Drew participates in class and is always willing to help out anyone who needs a little extra help or encouragement. Great job, Drew. We're very proud of him. Our other student, Sophia Gunn is our second grade student of the month. Her family is joining us on Zoom this evening. She is in Mr. Lavalia's classroom. Sophia has been an awesome student since the first day of school. She works hard in class, is kind and helpful to her classmates, and always has a positive attitude and a smile on her face. She has been a great example of what it means to be Ranger Strong. We are very proud to have Sophia as our student of the month. Congratulations. And I would like to invite Mr. King to announce the students of the month for the academic center.
Thank you, board. Community, we really appreciate the opportunity to come and speak about our folks. All right, double trouble. I think I saw double trouble. Okay, we're gonna break the rules here for a quick minute if you don't mind. We have two outstanding students from 3 Blue, and they happen to be brother and sister twins. So when I say double trouble, I mean good trouble, right? It's all about the good trouble. So what 3 Blue shared with me was in coming up to the academic center, they both really and truly showed what it meant to be Ranger Strong in immersing themselves within the new roles within the building, navigating a very large building while being friendly and kind to their peers, engaging in the classroom, and showing what it is to be polite, kind, and they both continue to work on their individual goals with pride. What is your goal for the year? What do you want to do at the academic center this year? Okay, and that's just fine.
To be kind and be respectful and be always good when somebody's down.
Okay, can we just bottle that up? I think you made my week. You guys truly did. So thank you and congratulations for being the 3 Blue students of the month. First time, only time we've had 2. So congratulations, guys. Good job. All right, next up, we have Alex. I believe I saw Alex. Come on up, buddy. All right. Alex joins us from 5 Blue. Alex is an incredibly hardworking young man. He is incredibly polite and kind, and his teachers shares that he goes out of his way to share what he has to those in need. So if he has a pencil, he lends a pencil. That smile does not leave his face, and he wants to help everyone that he can. Alex loves to learn and never gives up when learning something new. Great work, Alex. That is absolutely Ranger Strong. Sorry. All right. I did not see Carly. Oh, I'm sorry. There you are, right in the middle. I apologize. It's the smaller shirt. So I had a dad moment with Carly. I picked the shirt that I thought would fit. Well, like with my own daughter at home, who happens to be in 7th grade, it would have been a dress. So we fixed her up today, and I'm glad we did. Carly was nominated by 7 Blue. Carly was nominated because of her work across the classes, especially her work in art was mentioned, that she had signed up for Ranger Service, that she is incredibly dedicated to making everyone feel welcome in the building, that she's a friend to all, and she does look out for those who are having a bad day, a rough day, and looks to include them. And she's very open to sharing her time and energy with those across the board. So that is very cool, and thank you for being you. Awesome. I'll start. And last but not least, so part of our PBIS goals this year at the Academic Center is to make sure that we're encompassing not only our grade level teachers, but the entire building in our Student of the Month process. And so our first department, if you will, for this year was our nursing department. And I asked them to nominate their Student of the Month, and they said it took them about 2.3 seconds. Our district nurse, Rhonda Carson, said it was an easy choice because apparently Daniel has been a helper for the nursing corps ever since he was much younger. I was going to say smaller, but we're going to go with younger because I think he's always been this height. First day I met Daniel, he was taller than me. So Daniel is kind, outgoing, caring. He never misses a beat. He makes sure that the nurse's station is well stocked when he comes in every day. He is kind to those who are there. And he is also very good about understanding what is going on and assisting as necessary, making sure that if someone needs a glass of water, that they have it. He does not let those in need go without. And if anybody knows Daniel, he's also the voice of the building. He does our morning announcements, and he's also a very good football player. So
That is true.
I'm going to pass the baton on to Ms. Melissa Durkin for her Students of the Month from RHTA.
Thank you. First, I would like to introduce our first Student of the Month from Ranger High Tech Academy, and that would be Nate Dillon. Nate, come on up. Thank you, Nate, and thanks for being here tonight. Nate was nominated by Mrs. Carstens, and Nate's in 4th grade, and this is what Mrs. Carstens had to say about Nate. Nate has demonstrated the Ranger Strong characteristic of respect consistently throughout this month. He is always kind to his peers and works respectfully and collaboratively with them. When working in a small group, he will often offer to help his peers and enjoys cooperative learning opportunities. He shows respect to his coaches by appropriately asking questions, being grateful when he receives support. That's something that doesn't happen often. Great job, Nate. And using polite words to thank his coaches for helping him. He has a wonderful sense of humor that is always respectful and not hurtful to others. Nate respects and follows the classroom rules, and he takes care of his own materials and materials in the classroom. It is always a pleasure to work with Nate because he is so respectful. Keep up the good work, Nate. We are so proud of you. Great job. And my next Student of the Month is Melina Margolin, who's in 8th grade. So Melina, if you would come on up. Thank you. Melina has demonstrated Ranger Strong, and she has been nominated by Miss Swaney. Miss Swaney teaches Algebra 1, and Miss Swaney has to say, Melina has demonstrated Ranger Strong characteristics of respect in 3 ways: to herself, to her peers, and to me. Melina greets me every day with a warm hello, how are you? If I ever make a mistake, she corrects me very respectfully. She helps her peers when they are confused or stuck on a topic without making them feel bad about being confused. She is a team player and always ready to learn in class each and every day. And she holds her classmates accountable when they are off task or distracted. She also respects herself in the sense of knowing when she is confused and not being afraid to ask her peers or me to clarify a topic or the question at large. Keep it up, Melina. Now I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Mueller at the high school to announce his Learners of the Month.
Thank you.
Of course.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. You know, it's often said that a school is 4 walls with the future inside. And as you can see from tonight's recognized students, that's a very true statement. It's why we're here. It's why we do what we do. I'm lucky, particularly being so new to North Ridgeville High School, that I get to see those students as they prepare to exit our schools and move on to the futures that they prefer and have been designing and that we all hope for them. In beginning my time at North Ridgeville High School, I am delighted to recognize 2 members of the class of 2023. I'm going to start first. Oh, I guess I'll start with Sam Janik. Come up, Sam. How you doing? Sam was one of the first seniors that I met in my time here in North Ridgeville. We did some yoga together, and then he ran and I watched him run. And I got to know a little bit about him during this nomination process. Sam is an amazing young man. And as with Grace Kilbane, he is what we want all of our students to achieve and model for future Rangers. So those other student spotlights tonight, take a look at our 2 high school students and say, I can do that. And if you can do that, it will be a remarkable achievement. Sam was selected to participate in the All-State Choir event held at the Ohio Music Educators Association Conference in Columbus this February 23rd and 24th, 2023. This is an awesome achievement as he was competing for a spot against so many other talented singers across the state. Sam is also in show choir, a cappella choir, symphonic band, and a member of the cross country and track team. He's a member of many clubs including National Honor Society, Champions for Life, Student Council, Prom Committee, and Leo Club. Sam's favorite class is AP Music Theory, and he enjoys playing piano, singing, and writing songs. His dream college is Brigham Young University, but he's still undecided. After college, Sam would like to be a music artist, performer, and songwriter. Sam's spirit animal is an eagle, and he certainly embodies Ranger Strong, or what we are saying this year at North Ridgeville High School, GBED, getting better every day. Congratulations, Sam. Our next senior spotlight is Grace Kilbane. When we put nominations out to staff for Senior of the Month, Grace's name came up immediately. She was nominated by numerous teachers, saying that she is a very hard worker and is kind to everyone she meets. And if we know one thing about student life in 2022 and beyond, is that kindness matters. You see it in NRAC, you see it in the walls of North Ridgeville High School. We are painting angels' wings as a back wall mural for our students to stand in front of to recognize the need for kindness and watchfulness in this world. Grace could be the model for that. All she has to do is stand in front of those wings. She's a member of the treble singers at the high school, and her favorite class is AP Literature. That's awesome. In Grace's spare time, her hobbies include reading and listening to music. Her dream college is Baldwin Wallace University. She would like to be a therapist when she graduates. Her spirit animal is a seal. Grace is the perfect example of Ranger Strong and inspiring her classmates to get better every day. Grace Kilbane. At this time, I'm going to call Ms. Vance back to the podium for another recognition. Thank you.
All right. Good evening, everybody, again. It is my pleasure tonight to introduce again Serenity Miller. We're so glad she made it in. And I'm just going to read tonight what Mrs. Debato shared again with Serenity. Serenity has shown so much growth this last year. She's always willing to help other peers and teaches the school throughout the school day. She is always reminding her peers of the rules and modeling what should be done. Serenity is always trying her best and will always ask for help when something becomes difficult. We are so proud of Serenity and all the growth she's made, and she is going to do amazing this year. Keep up the awesome work, Serenity. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So that was extremely heartwarming to have all of our students back. And honestly, just hearing what some of you have said about these students really gives me a lot of hope for our future, hope for our students. And we get there through the amazing work of our staff. And here to introduce two of our awesome staff members of the month for October is Director of Human Resources, Annie Hostetler.
Thank you. It is such a great opportunity to see everybody in person. I think we forget how meaningful that is to see our preschool students through our seniors. And it is, you know, like Mr. Mueller said, why we do what we do every day, right? It's because of the kids in this room, and it certainly is why our staff works so diligently. So tonight, on behalf of the Board of Education, it is my pleasure to congratulate two staff members for their selection for the North Ridgeville City Schools October Staff Member of the Month. Each month, the Board of Education recognizes staff members who have shown extreme care, demonstrated excellence, and or provided exemplary professionalism. These nominations can come from students, parents, colleagues, or their administrators. I would like to call Mrs. Melody McDonald to the podium. This month's first winner and award winner is Mrs. Melody McDonald. Mrs. McDonald is a paraprofessional at the Early Childhood Learning Community. Melody was first hired at ECLC in 2017. Prior to coming to NRCS, she was a teacher aide, preschool teacher, and provided some in-home childcare. Her vast experience with early learners has made her an outstanding addition to our staff. Melody was nominated by both a colleague and a parent this past month who has this to say about her. Melody is a caring, compassionate, and true professional, always helping where necessary without complaint. When asked to help out in a classroom other than her own, she does so with no complaint. Melody gives back to the community and youth by being a Lions member and hosting an exchange student through the high school. With all she has to do personally and professionally, she is always happy and kind. The parent had this to say: "So lucky to have her in my son's classroom. You can tell how much she cares about the kids, always friendly." Congratulations, Melody, and thank you for your dedication. Our second employee this month that we will be recognizing is Mrs. Linda Reiner. Linda is a Title I instructor at the Early Childhood Learning Community. Mrs. Reiner was first hired as an intervention specialist for NRCS in 2006. Linda has spent time at Lear, Liberty, Wilcoxon, and RAC before moving to ECLC. She has also served as an hourly home instructor, special education department chair, and has provided home instruction for both ESY and mini rangers. Linda was nominated by a colleague who had this to say: "Linda is always so positive with students, staff, and parents. She is a ray of sunshine. She always goes above and beyond what her position requires her to. Students and staff love her and are always happy to see her smiling face." Congratulations, Linda, and thank you. I would like to take an opportunity to thank all of our parents and staff members and students who nominated staff members this past month. I would encourage parents to do so in the future. It is a wonderful way to recognize the hard work of our staff and identify them as the positive leaders and role models that they are. Congratulations again to Mrs. McDonald and Mrs. Reiner.
Congratulations to all our students and staff. I haven't smiled this much in a meeting. It's amazing to have you all back in the room. Kids, keep doing what you're doing. The common theme I heard from everybody, including our staff members, was kind, helping hand, reaching out, going above and beyond. That's something you're learning at home. That's something you're learning in our buildings, and just keep doing it. Keep smiling, keep pushing forward, and just keep doing the amazing things that you're all doing in our school. Congratulations to every one of you.
Okay, at this time, I would welcome to the podium Mrs. Amanda Zapatechny, who is going to do a presentation on what is happening and all the great things at Liberty Elementary School. Parents of the month, students of the month, staff of the month, if you do want to exit, you certainly are welcome, but you're also welcome to stay and listen to our presentation.
Don't take it.
Yeah. Good crowd.
So
Right?
Not yet. Not yet. Yeah. Great. Thank you all for coming.
When are we gonna do a picture?
Right.
Take one out.
Who will take it? Who will take it?
Maybe one of the principals.
Well, thank you for letting me highlight some of the wonderful things that are happening at Liberty. I know last month when we were here, Dr. Miller gave a presentation about the Ohio State testing data, and she shared some graphs that showed over the course of the last couple of years trends in grades 3 through 12, which are tested grades. And Liberty is included in the state measure on the report card for our early literacy measure, but not necessarily included on the state testing data. So I wanted to start our presentation by kind of showing some of our data, which is Ames Web.
Tell me about it.
Okay, thank you. So for our first grade data, I wanted to show the data over the course of 3 years, similar to how Dr. Miller presented the data for the other grades last month. So you'll notice from 2020 to 2021 to this year, 2022, our first grade data has shifted and we do see improvements. So the graphs that you're looking at break our students into 3 tiers. Tier 1 is the green tier. Those are our students that are considered on track. The yellow tier is our tier 2. These are students that are kind of our on watch students. And then our tier 3 students are the students that would be in the red group on the top. And those are students that at this time are requiring some intervention. And so when we're looking at our first grade data, especially the data at the fall point in the year, we would expect some of our first grade students to fall into that tier 3 category, because part of what this data is measuring is their oral reading fluency. And in first grade, our students are still building their phonics skills, and they're still, building the skills they need to be able to decode, to be able to read fluently. So we want to make sure throughout the year, students will take this test again in December, early January, and we'll look at our winter benchmark, and we should see a lot of those students in the yellow and the red categories moving into the green. And when we get to our second grade data, you'll notice that that shift is occurring. We are seeing a significant portion of our students that are in that red category right now moving into the green. But if we look at our data across the years from 2020 to 2021 to this year, we are seeing the percentage of students in our tier 1 increase from year to year, which shows us that our tier 1 instruction, is we are seeing improvements from the year. As we move into our second grade data, you'll notice a significant change. We see a lot more of our students in tier 1. Especially this year in 2022, there's a very small percentage of our students in that tier 3 category. And I think one of the reasons for this is just the focus on literacy across our district. So having the units of study and the consistency of curriculum in the elementary grades really just builds consistency. So our students, by the time they're entering second grade, they've been exposed to the units of study for 2 full years. So teachers are using the same language in their classrooms when they're teaching phonics. Students have been working with reading workshop and writing workshop, and I'll talk a little bit more about those things. But they've been engaged with those practices for 2 years. And so with everybody having the same level of instruction, having the common language, we are seeing that our tier 1 group is really increasing. We can go ahead and go to our next slide. So when we talk about units of study, there's three major components to that. And the first major component is phonics. So every morning, our first and second grade classrooms have 20 minutes of full group phonics instruction. So we just finished our first unit, which is a preview of what students learned in kindergarten and first grade. And so now we're moving into our second unit. And so our students in first grade are working with the mystery of the silent E. They're kind of word detectives. They're learning how the silent E changes CVC words to CVCE words and how the short vowels the magic E turns them into the long vowel. Each grade level has a mascot that kind of creates a story and helps engagement with these lessons. It makes it a little more fun and engaging for the students. And then our second graders are now working on multisyllabic words. They're using all of the phonics skills that they've learned from first grade to really be able to break apart and decode multisyllabic words, which they'll need to know as they move up into third, fourth, fifth grade. As they start engaging with more complex texts, they need to be able to decode more complex words. So there is a strong phonics focus in first and second grade, and I think that is a big reason we see that shift from first to second grade when we're looking at that data. We see a lot of the students moving into that tier 1 group, and a lot of that is because they are building those phonics skills that they need to be able to read more fluently. The second component of units of study is our reading workshop. So every reading workshop starts with a 10-minute mini lesson, which is grade level instruction. It's addressing the Ohio Department of Education learning standards. So students come to the carpet, they engage in a whole group 10-minute mini lesson. After the mini lesson, students break up either into individual, independent work where they're working on independent goals, or they're working in small groups with their teacher. So during this time, teachers will pull small groups to work on guided reading, or they'll pull small groups to work on specific skills that certain students need to address. They're also conferring with students one-on-one, hearing the progress that students are making as they're reading and seeing what the needs are for individual children. And during those conferences, teachers are setting individual reading goals with students. So that as students are working independently, they know exactly what their goal is that they're working on in their reading. Then towards the end of the reading workshop, students work with a partner for about 5 minutes to kind of practice those skills together. They get to share what they were reading in their book and practice reading together. Then they return to the carpet where students lead a share out of what they've learned and discussed either independently or with their partners. So a lot of times during this time, the kids really love it. The teachers use the document cameras the students will bring their book up, they'll put it under the document camera, and then they're at the board being teacher, teaching their class what they learned. And so it's building love for reading, which is so important as you get to the older grades. A lot of our students, when you walk in, just like in this picture, this is a picture from one of our second grade classrooms. They have book baggies with them of books that they've selected from their classroom library. They do book shopping once a week, and they're able to pick out 5 to 10 books for their book baggie that they read during this time. And they get excited to share with their class. It's building their confidence as well. The last component of our units of study is the writing workshop. The writing workshop follows the same structure as the reading workshop. So the students are gathering for a 10-minute mini lesson. They're working the majority of the time on their writing, either independently or with a partner, as the teacher is pulling groups of students to work with them and conferring with students. Students also have writing goals. And they have a writing folder with a lot of tools inside that they can use while they're writing. So students inside their writing folder will have things like a checklist or a rubric that they're using to kind of check their writing as they go. And they're using that rubric and the checklist to go back and make edits and revisions to their writing. They're also encouraged to make connections between phonics and their writing. So if students are learning about blends in phonics, or as students are learning about the mystery E in phonics, they're encouraged to incorporate those phonics skills into their writing as they're thinking about how they might spell things. I did do a little video, so we'll in the video you'll hear from 2 students that volunteered just to kind of meet with me and talk with me about some of the things that you'll see in their writing folder, a little bit about their writing process. So if you want, you can go ahead.
We may have to restart just because I may miss the button for sound, so let's make sure we have sound first.
We have our heart maps. Give us ideas. That is all scrunched up. We've had this for a while. first day of school. Yeah. Ideas for writing, we can keep adding to it. And we have our word dictionary, so like when we have to look at different words, we don't have to keep asking the grown-up. We can just look in here, but sometimes they forget to add words. Like or
So tell me about your writing process.
we're supposed to write about a narrative story, and we're supposed to write in blue pen for this one.
Okay.
And revise and edit in red pen.
Oh, okay. So what's the difference between revising and editing?
So revising is like looking over your work and adding and taking away. Yeah, but editing is like seeing if you're missing any capitals or any I forget what the period is.
Oh, like punctuation?
Yeah, punctuation and spelling. So then we just look at it and see if we need to check. So one of them says like, I wrote one time when I did something. So I wrote about one time when I got my new dog. And I wrote about the time I went to see a foot on the mat spot.
So did you kind of use that checklist to make sure that you had like all the parts in your writing?
Yeah. Punctuation.
And punctuation is on there too?
Spelling and punctuation.
So I just wanted to share a little bit of that with you. It's always great to see the kids talking about what they're doing. And a lot of that, those are skills that they're going to continue building on as they move to the academic center. When they're in 3rd and 4th grade, they're going to continue going through that writing process. And our students, in 1st and 2nd grade are already becoming familiar with that. They know what it means to use a rubric. They're comparing that to what they're doing. I mean, she was able to talk about, on the rubric, it said I have to talk about one specific time when I did something, and this is how I did that. And so that's just really powerful, I think, to see. And so I know, the district has a strong literacy focus. And so that's our focus right now at Liberty, is really building up this work. And so we're really excited about the future for that. So thank you for letting me share that with you.
Thank you. Thank you. Any questions?
Oh, yes, any questions?
Amazing. And I'm glad you panned the camera there, because the community has no idea. You smiled through the entire presentation, the entire video. You're clearly excited. You're clearly engaged. Dr. Miller, all these things that you put in, I mean, you got to see the smiles of our staff. I mean, the camera's on us, the media, and I'm telling you, you got to see the smiles on the staff when they share the successes of our students. They're ear-to-ear smiles, and the excitement's genuine and it's real. So thank you.
Thank you. I mean, it's hard not to be proud. So, thank you.
That concludes the superintendent's report.
Really boring, really quick. All right, we'll move into the consent agenda. It is recommended that the, public here.
They got announcements.
I apologize. Here's an opportunity for hearing of the public. If anybody in attendance this evening would like to address the Board of Education, now is your chance. Just please approach the podium and sign in. Seeing none, we will actually move into the consent agenda. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the consent agenda resolution as presented.
Most.
Moved by Ms. McCarthy, second by Mr. Grigsby. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. McCarthy?
Yes.
Mr. Grigsby?
Yes.
Mrs. Saxon?
Yes.
Mrs. Tamira? Mr. Vaca?
Yes. All right, treasurer's report.
All right, thank you, Mr. Vaca. So with the closing of the month of September, we are now 25% through the fiscal year. We closed the month of September with bank accounts, including all investment accounts, and noted no exceptions or reconciling items, other than a few deposits in transit. From a cash flow standpoint, this is one of our high points of the fiscal year, as we've now received our fall real estate settlement, homestead and rollback collections. Moving forward, we will start to see our total fund balance start to decrease until we get to about February, March, when it picks back up again with our spring real estate settlement. As for the investment portfolio, we have the largest portions of the investments are in agency bonds and US Treasury notes, with about 25% of the portfolio inside of the 1-year mark for maturity distribution. And so far this fiscal year, as of the end of September, I've been able to generate a little bit over 100,000 in earnings from investments for the district. Fiscal year to date, so from July 1st to this point, total revenues are higher by 446,000 compared to that same time frame last year. Total expenses are also higher by almost that same amount at 432,000. So if you remember the last time I presented the 5-year forecast, I showed that graph with the 2 lines, one of them being revenue, one of them being expenses. And those 2 lines were kind of meeting each other. So this is kind of proof of that happening. We're going to get to the point where one of them is going to start outpacing the other. And that will likely be our expenses. For now, our financial position is stable. Working with the administrative team, the superintendent, to try to make that last as long as possible. For our top monthly expenses, we had the purchase of 5 new school buses. This was part of our regular transportation rotation plan. The cost was $531,000. I had the opportunity to be creative here, money management and securing grant funding, additional grant funding. The entire cost of that was covered, having no impact on our operating budget. And this was the 2nd year in a row that we've been able to achieve this. And that allowed for some flexibility to take on some other projects, focus on some other areas, like the tennis courts, for example. I've been keeping a close eye on our food service fund. The state no longer reimbursing for meals at 100%. Our revenues are obviously down. They're already down over 400,000 when compared to this time last year. That's because we're not being reimbursed at the 100% for all the meals. But we have been able to build up a pretty healthy reserve throughout that time in the food service fund. And I'd like to conserve that for as long as possible so we don't have to transfer money from the general fund at the end of the year. It's typical for most districts to run a negative in their food service fund, but we haven't had to do this, make that transfer from the general fund in 2 years, and I'd like to keep that going. With being 25% overall through the fiscal year, actuals to date are within 26% of forecasted projections. So we are trending right in line with the current level of spending, and that's based on the May forecast, my last forecast. Just some other updates. I've been working with HR in the buildings and streamlining our payroll and absences process. I'm very happy with the results of that. Several changes were made to improve efficiency, accuracy, our absence reporting systems, payroll management, documentation, federal grants. Last year's grants have been closed out successfully and reported to ODE. Been working with curriculum, student services, and managing and spending of our new federal grant allocations, and that includes our remaining ESSER funding. So we are looking to spend those funds down in accordance with the grant awards, and also looking to offset expenses wherever possible. And that will again help to positively impact our numbers on the 5-year forecast, which we are making every effort to do that. Next month at our November meeting, I will have a full 5-year forecast, new and improved updated forecast report for the board, where I will talk more long-term details and updates, and that will be our initial 5-year forecast for the current fiscal year. That concludes the treasurer's report.
Thank you very much. Any questions? Okay, we'll move to the finance audit report. Ms. McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. Baca. Board, we have one item this evening to consider. We have a resolution, to approve the financial reports and reports of something else. We have a resolution. Let me start over. Okay, that was rewinding. Thank you. I was looking for my audience. We have a resolution to approve the financial reports for the month of September 2022. I move to approve this finance audit items in one reading. Second, or 2.5
Yeah.
readings or something.
Moved by Ms. McCarthy, second by Ms. Saxon. Is there any discussion? Roll
I'll
call.
learn how to read next
Mrs.
month.
McCarthy,
I need that curriculum. Yes.
Mrs. Saxon,
Yes.
Mr. Grigsby,
Yes.
Mrs. Tamira, and Mr. Vaca.
Yes.
Elementary is right.
We'll move on to Human Resources Report. Ms. Saxon?
Yes, we have a few items to consider under the Human Resources Report. 1, support staff appointment. 2, NREA supplemental contracts. 1, support staff substitute contract. 3, certified staff resignations. 1, support staff resignation. I move to approve the human resources items in one reading.
Moved by Ms. Saxon, second by Mr. Grigsby. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Saxon,
Yes.
Mr. Grigsby,
Yes.
Mrs. McCarthy,
Yes.
Mrs. Tamira, Mr. Vaca.
Yes. Recommended the Board of Education adjourn this regular meeting.
Moves.
Second.
By Ms. McCarthy, second by Ms. Saxon. Roll call, please.
Mrs. McCarthy,
Yes.
Mrs. Saxon,
Yes.
Mr. Grigsby,
Yes.
Mrs. Tamira, Mr. Vaca.
Yes.